evening, or good morning, or good afternoon. Actually, depends on where you're at. Welcome to Laughing Monkey Music Show, Tavon. Jason. Jason, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. I've been waiting for a reason to have you back. I wanted to do a show to before we start talking about your music. I want people to go check out your podcast, your own show. I want to
Mm,
do something where we combine ourselves, but I didn't want to do something cheesy or lame. So I'm still thinking of something we can do a good combined show together. So people out there, that's out in the future. But since we're here, let's
yeah,
talk about your album. You got some new music coming out, and actually, in toys, you're doing some touring. You got a lot of different things going on. But
yeah.
where do you want to start first?
That's kind of normal for me to just. I mean, thank God, the phone rings at all. I mean,
Right.
to be asked to collaborate or write a new song. It doesn't matter with who, or someone wants to book your band. It's people, especially artists. Eventually they can take that for granted.
Hmm.
You know,
Do you think
um,
COVID changed that though a little bit? Though? I think it was a refreshing. I think some people realize that, and this is me as a you know enough of the music industry, but some artists are like, I get it, I missed it so much, I'm not gonna be so crabby, or I'm gonna appreciate it more. Some artists are like, you know what, I'm really not happy, and I really enjoy not doing this. Like it was a chance to kind of like clear the board, maybe.
yeah, I see that. A lot of us just have real bad ADD and they have to stay busy or they feel unhealthy,
Yeah.
and that's rampant. And it, I mean, it sounds. I don't want anyone to be afflicted in any way, but to create more because the pressure is on because of your health issue is
Right.
it. There's a good and a bad to that,
Right.
and I'm glad that a lot of artists continued whether they're afflicted or not. This is just what I do. I just have more time to do it now.
Mhm.
I can't tour because of whatever COVID related reason. But I think that it's not over. And it's people are different.
Yeah.
Young people who were taken out of school, by
Hmm.
law, because the world shut down, if you will. Um, those are COVID kids. They missed 2, 3 years of school.
My kids
It's
graduated without being COVID. I actually gave my kid a diploma because they couldn't get one. My kids
wow.
are okay
Yeah,
about it. Actually, they're like, I'm done
that's
with people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's that, and that's almost a different subject, I think.
Yeah.
But the idea that these kids are in developmental, they're 7 years old, and all of a sudden they 8, 9, 10, 11 years old all of a sudden, and they miss 2.5 years of school or whatever. Unhealthy,
Right.
not good. I feel like they're uh, COVID brat. You know,
It will. Time will see. We're going to see like everything else. We're going to see in 10 years what's going to happen when you take out people out of the growing um, years when you're really school is more about society than anything than
yeah,
education because
that's right.
you can say because homeschooling you learn in your homeschooling. I mean, the dating pool is not the same, but
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
social distancing. Yeah.
You go to
So
school to
I've
get
been
your heart broken. You go to
right,
school
right, right. Yeah,
to get your ass kicked a little bit. You know, and you
yeah.
learn.
The Game of Thrones type of thing when you're a Targaryen when you're all related. But
Yeah,
there is some learning, and you learn when like your life isn't fair. Sometimes there is heartbreak.
yeah.
Sometimes it's harder and more unfair than it should be. But there are a lot of skills you learn, and taking those couple of years out is going to change people.
That's right. Well, back to the art and the music. I feel like there were. I mean, I lost a lot of money that first year. I think I came up with a sum, and this is a lot of money to me, like $44,000.
That's a lot of money to me.
I mean, that's an accumulated gross that includes me and my band members, not just me
Right,
personally. So
right.
you figure at least a quarter of that or a fifth of that is mine. That's still a chunk that just all of a sudden, because of the landscape, I'm not going to make. So to talk about, emotional creation, anger or like, what am I going to do? Some people went dark and got depressed and unplugged and had to find their way back, and it's all related somehow. But anyway, so I feel affected only by what was happening as it started to come back, if you will, just to
Yes.
use their terminology, and to see how it changed people, maybe myself included. But I have to stop for a second and say, this might be too much information, but I called the lockdowns. What did I say? It was like not rise of the lonely, but some people like to be alone.
Yeah.
It was like
I was okay with part of it. I'll be
yeah,
honest with you. There's a certain part of it. Now, if you have people, I talk about rarely, but
rise of the introvert. You know what I mean? It was like the
yeah.
introverts, they don't like people anyway. So this lockdown shit doesn't even affect me. Pretty
It
cool.
made people ruder. I mean, like I'm on the spectrum, so I have high functioning autism, and as I've done this show, and I started the show during this because I had certain skill sets, and I big fan of music
Sure.
like you, raise
Yeah.
a flag for metal, and there's
Yeah.
a certain level you go beyond fan, and that's when you and I are talking,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's that point where I want to show it and say these are the artists like you because you are the 99% of the touring working artists. That's what the pay is like. And that's my whole point was I'm like, there's still ways to reach these people financially and keep things going because this is something bigger than all of us. And that's why I was saying,
Yeah.
go to the websites, go to that. I still don't make money off my show. No matter how big my show is, people out there, I don't make money. I'm not on YouTube. I'm not charging for money. I'm not doing anything. I
Right.
would do a sponsor if I could do it creatively. I don't want to
Yeah.
succumb to anybody's rights. This is a passion thing about artists.
So you have a
And
lot of followers. Let me ask you about that. I'm sorry to interrupt your flow,
no,
but
absolutely no rules on my show. You know that.
if you're not making any money, you mean your show's not monetized
No, I didn't monetize it.
at
I put
all?
up at
Nothing?
1,000. No, no.
Really? And
I'm not.
how many subscribers do you have?
Um, 34,000. Getting close to 35,000.
That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. You don't make a
But it's not about
dime. You don't
not about
have
money.
any. You don't have.
No,
I know that, but you don't have any. You got to eat. You got to put gas in the car.
I'm an IT guy. This is not my career. That's why I did it. I have
But
a job.
understood. But I'm trying to get you
No,
to
I understand.
argue.
I get that. No,
Trying to get
there's
you
been.
to argue with me that you have a product that has a lot to do with your intellectual, property, that your opinion and your feelings and emotions that you pour into the microphone as you speak about things you're passionate about or care enough about or have
Yeah,
questions about, and people are enjoying it. 34,000 followers, subscribers, whatever the.
that's on YouTube. That's on YouTube. I don't even know what my I'm also on like podcasts. I don't even
This is
know.
my point. This is my point. You're not even bean counting, and I'm saying, dude, my podcast, we're happy to take. We're happy that the ads play during our YouTube show and that the nickels can come in, because me and my co-host and my producer Jared, we have to stop what we're doing in order to do this. We don't have disposable income, if you will, to prop ourselves up to have a podcast. It's like we have to stop. It is about the passion of what it is, and
I get
that's
that,
where
and
that's where we're
okay, yeah.
related. But I gotta take the gas money
No,
because
but I work. No, I work. I have a regular house. I work 50 hours a week. I do IT. I do some of these shows on my lunch break. I'll hotspot it. I'll have a
wow,
regular background. I do this when my wife's watching TV. I'll sit and I'll do it. I do it.
wow,
I'm a grandfather. I take care. I do other things at the house. I don't.
yeah.
I'm not like individually wealthy. I still pay my mortguage every month. I
No,
still,
of course,
I have to pay
of
so
course,
to me, I'm not in a situation where I'm like I could poo-poo money. Like if somebody came in, like like a certain guitarist company said, "Hey, we'll give you X amount of money to put our name on a show," I'll do that. I don't want us to come to the YouTube machine.
no. I understand, but
If a podcast like iTunes started paying me, and I could just be me, that's fine. Or
yeah,
Spotify says we'll give you Joe Rogan money, or we'll give you Joe Rogan quarters, and you can just be you and say what you want.
yeah,
I'll take the money.
yeah. If they
But
want
I
to
don't want to
buy,
split hairs with
if
YouTube's rules.
sure,
And
sure,
their
sure. Yeah, I mean there's a. I think that my show is different by way of design, maybe just a little bit, and I
Yeah,
feel like the ads kind of work. And I mean, I'm not too proud to say that I'll take the nickels
they
that
should.
that that come in because it's like, well, at least there's something. I mean, I have to report it to Uncle
But
Sam
but you're a
now,
musician. I'm not a musician. That was the whole point of my show. Is my
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
If I have you, here's the thing. I have you on my show, right? We've emailed and talked back and forth. We've
Oh
done a
yeah,
couple of shows back and forth, and probably gonna see you in a couple of weeks. So that to me, having relationships with a musician that I respect, and connecting these things already is word enough that I'm saying I like your music and I want to help it out there. Is
yeah,
kind of a payment for me because
yeah,
the next generation can hear it. Somebody had, you know, to me, it's not always about money. It's all about like certain websites are being like, it's always about the trash talk, the trash talk.
yeah,
Part of my thing is like I'm going to create a show that's the opposite. And
yeah,
sometimes I was getting a lot of air because I avoided it. Where I'm like, stop posting this stuff. It's not you're mistaking it. But I've always been very careful. I've always pulled stuff out that might be controversial. I'll talk to the artist, say, hey, let me take that out because I'm not. I could have really got a lot of deep stuff, and despite myself, the show's grown. Thank you to the audience, but
yeah, yeah.
but it's really about. I'm just who's it? Comedian John Jameson was on, right? And he was joking about his jokes. Don't we have? I gave a certain audience, like he was a musician. You know your core audience, right?
Yeah.
And my jokes. He goes, you kind of play the same thing. He goes, I'm kind of like the AC/DC. He's saying himself,
Yeah,
comedy, like he did riffs.
I get
I
it.
said, well,
Yeah.
then I said that I'm kind of the John Goodman of podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. I get that.
I'm the guy. I'm just the guy with the black flag shirt, hanging out, saying, "Hey, come on my house." And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
but
have a different skill set that's allowed me to open more
yeah,
doors. If you look at my guests, I have gone farther. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm on the fence about it. I'll be honest with you. I mean,
You're killing it. I think that it's because you're real and you're honest and you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, and we on my show we try to do that as much as possible, but we're also catering to the idea. I mean, I want it to be a safe show. We barely
mhm.
have any rules that we put on our focus, but we do draw the line at a couple of things, and you could probably figure those out after you watch a few podcasts, a few episodes. But for the most part, I need to, say this, and then we'll move on.
No, I've had the rules. I actually like. That's the one thing on my show that makes me feel crazy is because like I'll have one week I'm like, you know what? I had Lorena McKenna on, or I had Right Said Fred on. I'm like, also, do you remember you used to like watch something like in the '70s or something, right? Dating ourselves here, and you like
Yeah,
some TV show, and they have like you're like, I didn't know that artist Barbara Miller, whatever the artist was. I don't like their music, but I didn't know they're so nice. Like that was my goal with the show, like to get turned on to somebody you normally wouldn't think of in a
sure.
week.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's like a video magazine or a video album cover. You look at it, you go, I didn't know. All right, so maybe I don't like their music, but I can appreciate where they're coming from.
yeah. Sometimes it goes the other way, though.
It's bit me in the butt. Like I said, I don't know how my shows feel.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
you're right.
like their
I,
music, but goddamn, they were such a cool person. I could hang out with that person all
which
day,
is what I
even though
try
their
doing
music
sometimes,
is, yeah,
right?
even though their music is terrible. I really hope there's someone out there who hates my music but thinks that I'm all right to hang out with.
I
I
got
think
you.
that there's
Cool. I
something
don't know
very
how we could
re
not like you. You're such a chill dude.
there's
I don't
something
know
very
how.
re but thank you for that. But there's something very real about that flip-flop thing, Oh, he's a dick, but his music is amazing.
Yeah,
It's out there. So, but I wanted to say this. I
they would be a
don't,
one-time guest on my show. By the way, just so you know, right now, they would be a one-time guest.
yeah. I create art and may or may not make money creating art only so I can create more art. That's
Right.
it. I'm not doing this for the money. I mean, I'm not getting paid we're not getting paid. This is not about, it's Sunday morning. I could be
Yeah.
in the backyard. I could be walking I could be doing Sunday type
I
things,
was in the
right?
dog park with my dog before I got here. What are you
I
talking
get it.
about?
I
So
was
yeah,
I was
it's
working
Sunday.
on some lyrics and putting my dog in the backyard.
Good. You know what? One of the big things with me is and the struggle would be like if say you're monetized, and then there's the things like they need to know I don't want to get sucked into the whole thing. Am I worrying about? I already get stressed out enough content and stuff like about hits and views and stuff. To me, I get worried enough about getting views on something because I want that artist to get seen, right? But God, throw money to it with me, then I'll be like focusing it. Am I? You know what I mean? Get enough money to so I you take it out of the equation. So I'm just worrying about getting enough views for the artists,
Yeah,
and
I
and
see
that's kind
that.
of where it comes to.
I also see a lot of guests who have actors and you know artists, just
Hmm.
musicians and actors and entertainment industry guests on their podcast or their TV show or whatever, and they won't exactly the entire interview. They won't exactly focus on the new product
Oh
or
yeah.
the old their first hit or the old movie they did, or they'll just be talking about life and stories.
When you get your first guitar, yeah, I don't do that. The first we that is like a rule in my show. We talk about new stuff. We might touch on old stuff because I hate having rules. I don't want
Yeah,
to live in the past, man. I mean, I love Dangerous Toys, man. You've done some of the greatest howls and got some of the best licks in your band ever. But I mean, you're here
yeah,
now. You got a new album.
but
You're still living. You're doing stuff now.
but we can talk about our dog.
So, well,
Yeah,
that's the thing
that's
with
the
me. I'll
point.
talk about dogs and
Yeah,
monsters and science fiction, but
yeah,
that's
me too.
I'm that guy. I'm the John Goodman of podcasting.
Yeah,
You don't know who I
perfect.
am. My show's not on. It's not the Shawn Ratches podcast. It's
Yeah,
not dangerous with people by any means.
yeah.
I don't need my name. I don't care. I'm just the venue to get to the show. I
Well,
know how hard art was. I had the background. I went to school for recording. I knew how hard it was. I went to and I've done different stuff in the industry, and I quit radio because radio sucks. And I've just tried doing different things, and I know what you guys go through. And now that I'm finally settled in where I can pay my bill monthly, when I saw this opportunity, you know, I'm like, I just going to help. I want to keep promoting you guys because it sucks. And at least I have an avenue where I'm comfortable enough during COVID where I could do that. And I've gained so much. I gained as much from the artists and from people like you as I probably shared back. I think. You
well,
know.
it's appreciated. You know, I still, and it's you know, it's not really about how many followers. I know I'm kind of going rogue here, but it's not how many followers or subscribers you have or numbers or how much money you're making off of monetization or anything like that. But to grow your numbers and to like say some people are extremely worried about just their numbers. So they'll do a bunch of things in order to try to get more clicks and likes and followers and
Mm-hmm.
subscribers. Because when you are exploring the ideas of getting like the ultimate guest and you're talking to their
Right.
PR person or their
That
management or
does help.
whatever,
Yes.
yeah, but when you yeah, and then they ask you the the question, well, how many followers do you how many subscribers do you have? And you're like, we don't it's not about that. We don't give a fuck about that. They can't hang up the phone fast enough.
Okay. And this is good talk for Steph. I got time to talk about your album and talk about this too. I mean, so let's good stuff for a minute. Now, if you've seen my list over 500 people, right? I have never succumbed to pre-written questions. I've never paid for a guest. I've never done a cameo where you pay for a guest to have them on, like to get some scoop, like people do. I've done everything that's limited my intent. So my first 10 people were like, Sex Pistol. I had Warren Hewart. I reached out to Bill Buford from
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like he sent me his 3 CD thing and said he was super nice about like from the very beginning. And I don't know if it's the way I approach things or who I am. When I had nothing from the beginning, I've
Sure.
never had. I mean, my relationship with Angry Anderson. He's been on numerous times. I just sent a message over and we set something up. You know, I've never. I don't do the numbers game with people. I've had people, a couple artists I
Yeah.
won't on the show because of I want to say political because I don't get into politics on the show, but there was some hate groups that they're involved with, and they're like, "Let me explain it on my show." I'm like, "No," you know what I mean? I don't want to go there. I don't
Right.
want to get. I don't want to go there. But for the most part, I've got so many fantastic guests. I have it. And I've had people say, "Well, what are your numbers?" I'm like, "I don't." Let's just I'm like, "Look what I have." Those artists, those huge artists that are their peers, never ask me for the numbers. So
Yeah.
if that's the thing for you, now come back. Some of them have seen me said, I did. You do get credit. Like I've said, I interviewed Ian Anderson from Death Row,
Wow.
who could be a hard one because I think he's on a spectrum. He looks down. He doesn't really talk. He hates being interviewed. I apologize. I got to figure this out. I got this effect on here. They're called center stage. It's making me dizzy. I don't know how I clicked on my Zoom thing before we started talking.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
but
That it's not
but
bothering me.
yeah. But so I've had other people I've reached out to say get to something artists, and they go, oh, this person can't do it right now. They said no in the past. They said, but when the next album cycle comes out, I did see your interview with Jeff O'Tall. I like that Ian Anderson. He's a toughie. So there are PR people and there are a lot of industry people that do watch my show and they kind of observe. And yeah,
Mm.
sometimes it kind of how I handle the situation it builds. So who you are as a podcaster and who you talk to and how you handle certain situations, there are people watching different shows. So if you're a trash talker or a butt kisser, the manager's gonna see it coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm pretty real, and if I have you on my show, I like your music. I have no need. You see, I've done getting the game from the show, except support what I like. You know, I'm a
yeah.
Jason McMaster fan. I like Broken Teeth. I like the bands you do. I like the person you are. So you're here, and we're talking. You know,
I,
obviously you wanted to be here too, but that's what it comes down to. So people do watch that kind of stuff, though. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, they do.
And it matters.
I have to, can't help myself, but I have to comment. Thank you for all those wonderful things you just said. But
That's the truth. That's
the,
just who I am.
I appreciate that. But if I, if on my podcast, if I'm a butt kisser, it might come off as that way because I am such a
Well,
fanboy.
I get that. That's something I do too. I somehow do too. I'm saying the point is not to be a fake butt kisser. Like on the next show, they go, they're
Oh
trash
yeah,
talking. I'm talking. No,
yeah,
do I sound like a fanboy sometimes? Absolutely. You know why?
yeah,
I'm a fan of music. How
yeah,
can I not be
yeah,
excited talking to a creative artist? I don't think of well, there. How do you? They'll go. How do you talk to that person? I'm like with
yeah,
these two. Oh, with these two lips. To their
yeah,
two lips. We just
yeah.
talk. They're human beings. It's like if you were I was into horses, and you made great saddles. We'd be talking about saddles. You have
Sure.
a great talent, but that doesn't mean you're not going to bang your leg going into your car. You don't have to clean up dog poop in the backyard. No, no,
Right.
no. You do make good saddles. That's how I look at it.
Right. Well, that's good perspective, and I think people need to hear more of that type of basic human. You're human, so
Yeah,
you're gonna react to different things that, ooh, look, shiny. You know what I mean? I think that's normal and that's human.
right.
If you were just kind of dead inside and that was your shtick, I don't know why your numbers would be so high. Um,
People ask me all the time. I'm okay talking because people ask you so much. I haven't done a show and I've talked about doing something, but I don't know. I don't pay for anything. I don't go on social media. I've never paid to promote myself. I don't.
right.
I'm the worst promotion ever. I just do the show and I throw it up on Facebook pages sometimes. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
And it gets picked up.
That's
It does get picked up, though. It does get picked up on sites.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, our we get picked up by blabbermouth more than anybody else, and I guess that's everybody gets picked up by blabbermouth, but
But they have a good. If you can look up the numbers. They have a good front page hit. So you get a lot of
yeah.
hits. That helps to me. And I've had a lot of those hits. Rolling Stone Spain. Martha Quinn, Alice Cooper Nights have picked me up. Like radio stations picked me up a lot
Oh,
now.
good. Yeah.
A lot. The best one I got one was recently is Dweezil Zappa, and I'm mentioning Guitar World, talking to an interview I did with him because I do a show with Weasel on his website, and now
Oh,
he's putting
cool.
stuff out on YouTube. We've been doing stuff for years and years and years. When
Oh,
it first
cool.
started, that's how it started. So, but Guitar World mentions Dweezil Zappa talking about doing stuff with Eddie Van Halen, and then me. So, like in the same paragraph, it's Dweezil, Eddie Van Halen,
Ye-
and me
That's
in Guitar
awesome.
World.
You know,
I'm
I think
like,
I saw
that's
that.
bananas. Yeah. So I
I think I
posted that.
saw
I'm like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, this is bananas because like
Yeah.
I am the worst guitar player in the world.
Yeah.
I
Well,
am
it's
one of the three people that should be messed with the Weasel Zappa and Eddie Van Halen, like some of the two of the best, most innovative guitar players.
yeah, but you're not really presented as like expected
Yeah.
to be
No,
the
I know
guitar
that.
player in it. Right.
I
Yeah,
know that,
yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
funny because like how often do you hear the phrase Jason McMaster mentioned with like Eddie Van Halen in a conversation, and then somebody else
Yeah,
like
it
the
doesn't.
point of reference of that is like it's such a weird point of reference.
No, I agree. Welcome to my world when I see my name, in the same light with, for lack of a better term, my idols.
Well,
When it's all
that's
lined
funny.
up and it's like, what's my name doing among all of my idols? What is that? Am I, are my eyes,
Yeah,
what's going on here? So I get that. I understand that. Paying to promote yourself is not always a bad thing. It's a
no.
necessary evil, especially when, there's a PR person that you have to pay. It's usually a
Well, I'm a different
company
world. Like,
that,
yeah, for me, it's different. Like, I just pay for Zoom,
right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And so
So,
I have
well, that's pretty much
you're in a
what
different
we,
world. You're in a different world. You actually have your job helps your other stuff. This is just me
Y-
doing a different promotion. I have a different angle. It makes sense that
Yeah,
you should get paid.
yeah,
Me?
I don't know that it's an entirely different angle because the passion is exactly the same.
True.
Talking about podcasts. Me and my co-host do have day jobs.
Mhm.
I, of course, then there's my music. Like when I'm not teaching at the school, I'm writing lyrics for a new song, or I'm playing a show or multiple shows, and then I'm coming home and I'm writing more lyrics or collaborating with something else or creating the next video shoot, or I'm on the phone, and drives my wife crazy, of course, because who are you texting? It's like, who the fuck do you think
Yeah.
I'm texting, man? I'm trying to get this thing, and it's all and it's shit that's costing money.
Yeah.
Making a video and making a record and making something to release costs an independent artist. It's out of
Yeah.
pocket. So to get someone who's willing to use your resources is important, and I feel like that's what you're doing. Um, and your passion is driving it, not
And then I use my
necessarily.
platform that I've gotten
Yeah,
to promote you guys because you guys have to stay in the band. There is no profit margin. Sometimes, why does the band do this? So many they get diluted. Why does I'm not, and they're not a gig because Enough Stuff for us has written some fantastic songs. But why would Enough Stuff at a point have to play like all these small 50,000 gigs? Well, because at one point they're figuring out how they're going to pay for their gas from town to town to town because certain gigs aren't paying things. And I'm not slagging them. I'm saying that's the financial world. And these are the
yeah,
things they start talking about. I had to do Zap on when I saw him in concert a million years ago, right before COVID. I said, "Hey, I'm in line." And I had my music background, and people in front of me just bitching about the price of the shirts. Now I know how much it costs to make a shirt, what a pain in the butt it is to make it, the layers, the cost, how much you're gonna bring it, the merch person. Now the site you go to, like the mob with the charging you 30%, and you're dragging a behind the bus. You're paying for just the drag on the gas. Like there's a million things. So there's such a low profit. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I go up, I buy my shirt or two, whatever. And I'm thinking about it. I'm at the back of the show. I'm in the worst seat of the entire venue. I'm in the back at the wall, right? Plus the world's tallest guy is in front of me is my ordinary joke. Okay. Fast forward to I reach out to him on a site. He has a nice independent artist site. I say, hey, you got a paid site, there's nothing on it. Why don't we start doing some album breakdowns? So we started doing album breakdowns. We did an interview. And so it grew from there, and I started doing my own podcast separately. Did have full circle. He just came around recently. Before he came, he goes, hey, got an announcement coming up. Gonna come by you soon. I said, great. Maybe you know somebody could hold the door for me so I could get in. Maybe put a rock in the back door and let me sneak in. He's like, yeah, I got you. It came. I mean, finally, after everything had started, finally
yeah,
to get to see him. The last show was in the back wall. This time I was like third row in the middle with him. And then
yeah.
after still talking to himself, he was a great guy. If you get to meet him, he's as talented as he is nice. For
Wow.
years doing stuff with him. Uh, but that's how it started. Really, it was just people talking crap about artists and the things. I'm like, And then the show I started talking about this kind of stuff with the artists, like what the tour costs are and what's going on with when COVID was happening, how it's affecting the prices of the bands. And I started talking to things like people go to websites and buy stuff, support the artist directly here. Don't do stream for that. Go buy the CD. And that became the mantra. That became my flag.
Right.
It's changed a little bit. And at first I did some of the early podcasting mistakes. Feel like, the early history, like that kind of stuff. Quickly, I threw it out the window because it's not me. I have no
Yeah,
format. I just want to talk
yeah,
about like new stuff, and I may have a question about a song or something.
yeah. Sure.
I'm just the dad in the car listening to the podcast at work. Want to keep it kind of clean because you have your kids with you sometimes, and you can't listen to
Yeah,
some. So how do you find a balance of keeping it cool but not nerdy? I mean, cool nerdy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Of
So
course.
but that's how it exploded for me,
Well,
and that's
podcasts are nerdy. I mean,
they are nerdy.
unless it's a podcast about being dirty nerdy, and that's not really
No,
that. There's rules. That's why there's rules on podcasts. Even have to go by some kind of standard. So,
yeah, I've never really gotten into it. I just kind of do my thing, and it's always been me. And I've thrown it up. Are you guys even up on? Do you guys stream your show? I watch you guys on YouTube. I don't know if you. I
it's
don't know.
on it. Yeah, it's on all the platforms.
Okay,
Yeah.
which can be good. You got to get the right cycles up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what the
I don't even know how.
numbers really
Yeah,
are as far as the streaming
yeah.
platforms.
I don't really follow mine either. To be honest with you, I just know it's out there and I share it with people. I'm the worst at promoting myself. Worst.
Yeah, but I think we're getting up on a few thousand, going on our fourth year. So
Good.
yeah, I'll take it. I'm happy doing it, and I enjoy doing it because I'm passionate about either talking about music I feel like I'm very aware of and well versed in
Hmm.
because I'm a fanboy, or sometimes Dave, my co-host, will bring someone on. I've never, who the fuck is this guy? But I'm ready because I end up really falling in love with the artist and the music and going, wow, I learned a lot today. So it's kind of slap in the face stuff too.
You
Usually,
offer something different though.
yeah, yeah,
Your chemistry of you guys is different than most podcasters.
yes,
Your experience, you're in the job, but you're also you're like got a leg in each spot the way you
yeah,
do it. So it's a, there's probably like five podcasts and I have time because it's hard to keep just you know how it goes.
yeah,
When I do find something I do, it's like you and there's like three or four podcasts I'll kind of hop in and out of, and
yeah,
you're one of them because the relationship between you and your partner, your experience, their experience, and then the guests you bring in. There's some kind of guests I don't know much about, which is I
that's
find very
fair.
interesting for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the only one learning stuff. I'll invite somebody on that I'm very fond of, and Dave will end up going, well, I don't know shit. I'm just following your lead, and maybe I'll send the wiki page or, a
Yeah,
couple of facts that so he can develop some kind of questions because I wing it. And he's the real journalist. Like I'll show up without a pot to piss in. I won't know the person's name until we hit record. And next thing I know, I'm going, damn, this guy's awesome. And I'll have the generic question that goes down a rabbit hole, or I'll talk about something that, the t-shirt that he's wearing or whatever. And
yeah.
it just turns into a whole thing where it congeals immediate, and that's great when that can
But
happen,
that's
especially.
real. But
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
real.
That's exactly right.
That's not
Um,
a show for numbers. That's just
right.
real. That's what it's fun
I
when you
think
do it.
that people listening in their cars when they're not watching the YouTube version of it,
Hmm.
it still gets conveyed, and we
Yeah,
still sort of tell the listeners and not the watchers what color things are. And I feel like they're getting it while they're going to the gig or driving to school or whatever.
you
I
think
think they
sometimes
get it.
there's an age thing too, though. Like I think, like I'm okay listening to a podcast, but I think I've had people you would expect to have great numbers on podcasting, and they just do horrible for video.
Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with them, like visually or anything. They're a good visual. I've had some big people on have gotten such low numbers. I think their fan base would dig them more. Like I was surprised.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but then streaming would be big, or vice versa. I don't even understand the audiences for that anymore. I just put it out there. I'm like, whatever's easiest for you to listen to on your way to work, or get through the day, or if it's your favorite artist, or if this puts a smile on your face, or if this helps sell a T-shirt or an album, or
Yeah.
reminds people that they'll come next time. They might not come next time.
Hey, check out a podcast.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Check
yeah.
before I forget. Check out a podcast called "How Did I Get Here?" Do you know this podcast?
I don't.
How Did I Get Here? It's a guy here in Austin, Texas. He's an old friend of ours. His name is Johnny Gowdy, G O
I'll check
U
it out.
D
Yeah.
I E, Johnny Gowdy. And I think he's done like 2,000 episodes. He's been around for a
Wow.
long fucking time. And it's only streaming, it's not video. He doesn't have a video element.
Hmm.
So that makes it really easy for him to do
Yeah.
this because he doesn't have to have a backdrop. He just gets an artist and hits record, and its microphone's going into Pro Tools or something.
Well,
And he'll
that
do,
changes the artist too, right? Because you can get you're an artist that won't go on if it's video. They will not. You know how many people
they won't do
how to
video.
use Zoom?
Wow, yeah, that's
I've
I
taught Zoom to more rockers than you would even count. Being an IT
yeah, I
guy,
bet. Well, we like the video element of it. I think it's because me and Dave are kind of glammed out. We like uh fanfare, dun, dun, dun. We like, mom's basement look with the sci-fi and the heavy metal in the background. And
being on the
wow, what
spectrum, I need to see people talk. I need to see expressions. Otherwise, I can't tell.
sure. Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
bust your
yeah. I mean,
balls. I
if
need to know
we're
how my jokes are going across. I don't want to be
yeah,
like
right,
jerk.
right, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, some people watch it just to see what t-shirt I'm wearing. You know what I mean? So, and they
Well,
talk
that's a
about
good
that.
thing.
No, oh, nice t-shirt, or like, what's up with that t-shirt? It's very
That got you
interesting.
Angry Anderson. That got you Angry Anderson. See, I do
So,
watch your show, and that's how you end up with Angry Anderson on your show.
yeah, see, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know
And
who we're
people aren't
trying
aware.
you know who we're trying to get right now is Ronnie Simmons. That's
I can forget.
Angry's
Yeah.
guitar player. Well, Kat is doing
Okay.
Ronnie's PR right now, and he came down with the flu and had to cancel. So we're gonna have to try to reschedule that.
I was gonna say,
All
because yeah,
it's
that's really. I just got him another gig. I got Ronnie on another podcast too. He was on mine, and then I got him on another podcast. I was trying
Oh,
to help him
good.
get out there.
Yeah, I've been
I
seeing
like
him
Ronnie.
pop. Yeah, me too. I'm a huge fan of his. I don't even. I hope. Surely he's been able to figure it out because anytime I see his stuff, I'm always liking
Yeah,
and posting, and I've been this close to him on
yeah,
those Monsters of Rock cruises. I've seen him with Rose Tattoo. I've seen him with Faster Pussycat. He's an amazing rock and roll star, and
yeah. I had a good talk with him. I had a good time busting his stones too. It's just fun. He's
cool.
a fun guy. He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
So
Cool.
that'd be good. That'd be a good interview for you to do. And I encourage people to check him out too. I mean, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, people that weren't aware you were wearing your Rose Tattoo shirt, one of your many, and I saw one of your episodes, and I was like, oh, you know, that led me to reach out and say, hey, Jason, you like Rose Tattoo? You're
Y-
like, yeah. And I was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
know, I agree. And that you had it. That was a great podcast you guys did. It was
Yeah,
really a good episode.
he was real
Hmm.
and he was emotional. And I
Hmm.
love that because I get worked up really easily as well, talking to people that I admire and about things that I love. And so, he started talking about his
Oh,
son and his
yep.
family and just and he's very open book when it comes to that. And he gets, he's an emotional, raw nerve and raw talent who has very little filter. And and he
No,
was fucking great. He was so good to talk to.
he's a good cast. I'm gonna tell you, like last time we were on, we were talking about his cancer testing or whatever, and
Yeah.
we talked about that. But we were joking through that. I've got some clips, but he's like, next time I goes, let's do an episode with conspiracy theories or something. Like, and we already had like
Wow.
5 or 6 hours of shows we've done. We've done so
Wow.
many. The first time he was on, and I first met him, I'm like, you know what? I said, to me, the coolest thing you've ever done was there was a thing on YouTube where you were vacuuming and they're playing like the butcher and whatever, and you're like cleaning a bathroom. I said, because nothing's beneath you because you're taking care of your family and you stepped aside and you just got a job and you're like, oh, that is the most rock and roll hardcore thing I could think of. And that's
Fuck
when I
yeah.
props up him. And that's how we started our conversation. And then I said, do you still have that outfit from Road Warrior? The head?
Yeah, yeah.
I go, if I
Uh,
was you, I would be wearing that
Iron
shopping.
bar.
Yeah, I would be
Iron
Iron Bar.
bar. Yeah.
I would wear that little head, so you'd be walking the aisles and you see like the Iron Bar, that little shuriken head going through
Yeah.
the aisle and stuff. And we're just busting stones like from the very beginning. So that was good, and I loved the show you guys did. And but it was real. It was
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
and that's what
For
it comes down
sure.
to. I mean, and actually, we could just beat into. I mean, but you are also a real musician. That's why I'm always a big fan of you. You are almost like a Swiss knife of musicians too, because you do a bunch of bands of your own. But you are
Yeah.
you're one of the few auxiliary players that can step in for other artists
Yeah.
and deliver the goods. And that
Turn
says a lot
it.
that your peers respect you that much, and that vocally you can deliver and turn around.
Yeah, I think that surprised some people and then it did not surprise anyone at the same time. You
Yeah,
know what I
to
mean? Like
me, yeah.
I,
If you're a
I feel
follower of you, all the albums you've done and all the different groups you're in, I'm like, oh, it makes sense to me.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I had
You
some
could do it.
friends chime in on commentary. Example when I did the accept thing, which has been 2 fucking years ago now. People are still talking
Wow.
about it, and the guys in accept even say that to me. It's like, damn, do you
Yeah,
believe that was 2 years already, and people are still talking about it? And I'm like, you know,
that's good.
you know what? It's because it was this like moment in time. I mean, it's like you don't think about anyone else singing for Accept, especially when those are Mark's shoes, and he's been wearing those
Yeah,
shoes for 15 years or longer. They've got like 7 or 8 albums out with Mark on vocals. Anyway, so it
yeah,
was this weird anomaly, right? And so I had some friends comment and go, this makes way too much sense being that I was the one stepping in for a bit, uh, I had to step back and go, wow, that's a huge compliment coming from one of my peers who I respect, who's also a
mhm,
friend. To say something like that, I was like, it's going to be okay. If
yeah,
people see that I'm a fan going in to just do the best job I can because someone's got to sing the songs, saving someone need a band-aid, got to have a band-aid, can't send the crew home.
right.
We're in the middle of a tour. We're going to cancel the whole tour? No.
No,
You,
but people
you
also know
gotta
you,
keep
so
gotta keep
you
going.
got the voice,
Well,
and the
thanks.
reputation that carried over. So it wasn't like it was like some people are like, oh, when in Axl Rose sang for AC/DC, they're like, oh, I have a problem with Axl Rose, or I have like there's like baggage with it. And
Yeah,
I'm not dogging his voice because he delivered. I'm talking about people who have an issue with one or the other.
right.
You're like Jason, you're kind of like a workhorse of rock, doing your band and whatever. So there was no, so people just know you. They're gonna have an issue with having a sub or not.
Y-
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But knowing who you are, there was no baggage tag. It was like you delivering the goods, or they just didn't, or they wanted the original singer or something you could do at that.
Well, I went in careful because I was nervous about the negative Nancy, the haters. I was very nervous about, and let me, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll probably say it 1,000 more times. I don't want to see my favorite band with some knucklehead. I don't want to see a Band-Aid. I want to see, Rob Halford sing for Judas Priest. I want to sing, I'll even say it, Udo Dirksnyder singing, at this point it's Mark Tornillo who's fucking
Right, right.
killing it,
Yeah,
who has
he is.
become a friend. I want to see him singing for Accept. I don't want to see just some guy standing over here that they called in to fill. But the show has to go on. I want to help. I want to help anyone who I have mad respect for, and
I
do
think
the best and do the best job I can.
all right, I'm not throwing a thing, but how cool was it when you saw the clips when Ozzy couldn't sing and Rob Halford came in and sang for Sabbath? What a fun mashup. Okay, so then that's what you get. So you get the
Yeah,
cool guy from Dangerous Toys. You can't talk about yourself. I can talk about it. So Jason's going to come in, whose voice I love, and he's going to sing with the band, except I love. Oh, what a fun mashup. That's not going to happen every day. You're not replacing him. You're not becoming a, you know what I mean? You're not
yeah.
doing something like Linkin Park.
It's an
You're coming
anomaly.
in.
It's a
It's a
weird.
one off. It's a fun thing.
The
That's how
Yeah.
life is.
Well,
That's kind of different.
the biggest one that I can think of, and you mentioned it, and I want to bring it up again because I think that it's kind of unbelievable that Brian Johnson,
Hmm.
singer for the biggest rock band in the world, arguably, sure,
Yeah,
as big as the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, the
yeah.
other one would be Metallica, right? So comes in, Axl Rose, does 16, I think, shows and finishes out a tour that
Yeah.
Live Nation had already paid AC/DC to do. The contract was
Yeah, done.
had already been, it in the filing cabinet. It's
Yeah.
fucking done. The business part of it had been done. Oh shit, Brian Johnson's have got an issue. He's got to step out. Sorry, Brian, we got to bring in Axl Rose. And then everybody starts asking for refunds and bashing Axel and la 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 la. Oh, is he going to be late? Is he? They start drumming up all this old shit that
Yeah.
Axel may or may not be guilty for, or is known to be guilty for.
As your nature, I'll say it's like I've enjoyed him, but unfortunately, his past reputation he had to clear up because professionally, you can be a rock and roll
Yeah.
badass, but that does not work with professional dates, contracts, and everything else. And that's where the problem comes about. You
Well,
know,
and everybody knows that, and maybe
yes,
he had
publicly.
Slash even said it in his book. It's like giving someone so much power before they're ready to handle it is a
Mhm.
dangerous, like putting a gun in a baby's hand.
Yeah.
He said something like that, and he was talking about Axel, and I don't have any commentary for that, but it just puts it in some kind of perspective as maybe some correlation with his reputation of what he may or may not be known for. I don't have an
His
opinion about.
talent, I think, at the time surpassed his maybe his professional maturity, where he was
That's a
way more
good,
talented than the way he
yeah,
could handle the success level.
yeah.
And here we get the point with what happened to ACDC. He showed up on time. He was a big enough name to deliver the goods.
This is
And
where
I
I
think
was taking it. Yeah, thank you,
yeah,
Sean. This is
I don't want to step on it. This is
No,
actually
this is exactly where I was taking it, and I'm glad that you just kind of pushed me forward. He fucking killed it. For all the
mhm,
people who were nagging on it, like totally, oh, this ain't gonna work. He's, hasn't. They have this premeditated opinion about what it's gonna sound like and look like and all that. Who gives a shit? He's saving their ass, and it's an anomaly. It's this crazy, if anything, the haters could have been, you know what? I'm going to keep my tickets just to go see this fucking train wreck. And
Right.
then the reviews came out, and all of those haters turned over a leaf and went, "Holy shit, he
I
sounded
wanted to see it more. I didn't
badass."
see it. I wanted to see because I thought I had a bootleg of him doing a whole lot of Rosie early in the days. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
if he gets his voice doing that again, I would like to
of
see that
course,
show.
of
Why
course.
would you not?
There's
That's
video, and I think
before it came out.
you,
I'm saying before the video came out. But
yeah,
don't forget, at the time now, let's timestamp it. He had his own version of Guns N' Roses. Slash was doing his thing. I think was it around Velvet Revolver or End of Velvet Revolver.
yeah,
I don't. The time
yeah.
was so blurry now.
Snake Pit,
So
whole thing.
Snake Pit and
Yeah,
all different things. But at that point, his the sales, the Guns N' Roses, it was still doing good, but he didn't have the full band. People weren't like into Guns N' Roses. It caused a second life with him because so it wasn't him doing
yeah,
Guns N' Roses now with a full band and then this was him kind of trying to pull the old machine along with his new musicians, which is actually he had still a bunch of musicians prior to this also
yeah,
that is in that band, but it wasn't the original lineup.
yeah,
So he had that battle too. He was really just kind of coming in at the tail end, and
yeah,
he nailed it. And I think, and then since then the other guys got together for Guns N' Roses, and it's got even
yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
I think it was a launch pad for him. I think it or a second wind.
Well, I think that it was some kind of cathartic therapy as well for him to do his own version and see how that felt. And, if he went out just as the Axl Rose band, it's not gonna, all of the promoters are gonna go, "You sure you want to do that? Can't you just call it Guns N' Roses?" I get that. I understand that.
Right.
Whatever the
Oh yeah.
argument might have been, I mean, I just kind of made that up, but I don't
No,
think
but
I
if you
made that
wanted to
up.
go, no, but if you played a show right now, just
Yeah,
as you would do a solo show of all your other stuff, they would probably call it Jason's Don't Use Toys. Stephen Piercy still gets Rat, and he loves it because he
yeah,
created Rat. But they will
yeah,
always tie you to that. That's probably an easy one. But you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
To the voice, you are the voice of that one first band. They remember
yeah,
everything else goes out the window, and that's who you are.
yeah, yeah, but
Not fair,
whoever owns the name can legally use it.
but that's a
And
different. That's more like the L.A. Gun School of rock.
well, it's a lot of things. If there's two people that are on the trademark, the trademark docket, document,
Hmm.
they can both have their own version
Yeah,
of it, but legally, and they can fight it out and have points as to why they feel like they. Anyway, we're getting long-winded. Axel just fucking destroyed it. There's a version of Thunderstruck that's probably just iPhone footage from the audience.
yep.
He that's so clear and sounds great.
I'll go to Google after this.
You got
Yeah,
to check it out. And he sounds. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get hate mail for this, but he sounds maybe better than Brian on the studio version of Thunderstruck.
really.
Well, that's a hard song to sing because of where it is in your range. And Axel
Right,
made a career out of singing right there. I mean, that's my
right.
range as well, but holy shit, it sounds perfect.
I think
And
it improved his voice doing it, singing that.
if you don't look at the screen and you turn away from the screen and you just listen to Axel singing Thunderstruck with AC/DC live, no tape, with
Yeah.
just cell footage into a microdot microphone, and that's how it comes out. And there's no faking it. It really opens your eyes to how good Axel of an artist and
Hmm.
a vocalist he really is when he's got uh, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. When he's right in his world, that's how fucking good he can be. And I'm a believer. And I have to admit, I'm a huge AC/DC fan, and my doubts were immediate and then completely dissipated when I processed it. I'm going, wait a minute, what am I talking about? That's the way he sings. He sings like that. He's
Yeah.
just
First
my
thing I thought of was him doing a whole out Rosie. I'm
yeah,
thinking, I thought that, and I go, if he can be that guy, it's gonna be great.
yeah.
But if he's the other guy,
No,
it's
I
gonna be a
see what
train
you're
wreck for
saying.
everybody.
These the two different axles. I get it.
I was
I
like,
know
who's
what you're
gonna
saying.
show up?
Yeah,
I was like, if that
right.
guy shows up, it's gonna be phenomenal. But I was like,
Yeah,
if it's this other guy, we don't know who's gonna show up at this point because he had been being somewhat successful with the other version of Guns N' Roses.
sure.
But they also worked for him. He went to AC/DC. These guys were guys he grew up on. So these were not
Yeah,
guys that
of course.
he could say, I'm not saying he worked with his band members, I tell him what to do, but it seems to be a yes person when you have Axl Rose as your boss and you're a younger musician. That's just when you're Angus Young and you're like, no. I mean, they could have had Angry Anderson come in and sang just as well, except he doesn't have the same
he's not going to
reputation
sell.
that
Yeah,
he's
he's
not gonna
not
sell
going
tickets
to.
because
Yeah,
people don't know how cool he is. There's not enough people
yeah,
that know him, and
that's right.
that's a defect on you guys that don't know him because you
Yeah,
should know who he is because he's one of
yeah,
the best
that's
rock and
right.
roll singers out there.
Well,
But
I think if
no finances.
ACDC, I think if ACDC would have gotten um, an unknown, I just think that it would have caused a
Could have
lot
been
of politics with fans.
I think
It,
Axl Rose chance was the biggest chance, but the biggest payoff.
and I think that it was easy to figure out once, I heard a backstory because I actually threw my name in the hat for that gig
Why not?
for ACDC. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
enough
why not?
friends who knew someone who worked on the crew or management or whatever. And there was a lot of people gunning for me, no pun intended. But the point of the
Could you do it
story,
though? Hold on, could you sing that a full set though? That's a lot in the voice.
yeah,
I know you sing crazy,
it's like
but
18
that
songs. Yeah,
oh man.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But the point is I had no expectations, but the agenda was to at least get an audition. And I heard Axel was in there, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, well, they got the guy. They got the guy. If they're auditioning other folks, that's, if, uh, um, a friend of mine, I'll just say friend, my friend Darren Caperna sings for an AC/DC tribute band out of Dallas called Back in
Mhm.
Black. And he got an audition because Back in Black, this really great AC/DC tribute band out of Dallas, uh, has been around 20 something years or longer. They had a documentary on Netflix. It was #1 on Netflix for a while.
Oh, wow.
And it's called My Stupid Tribute Band. You should check it out. They tell the whole story.
I think from the title of that, I haven't heard it, but I've heard the title of that show.
Yeah, yeah. My Stupid Tribute Band is about who I'm talking about. Darren got to do a full set in Atlanta at those auditions that they held in Atlanta during that downtime before they were supposed to do those dates. And this may or may not have been this may have been before or after I think it was even after they had already decided that we're going to go with Axel. But
Mhm.
let's carry out the auditions with these singers so we can just stay rehearsed, right? Because
Things
they
can
have
fall through too with Axl Rose. Yeah, contracts, things
because
change in the music industry. You know
yeah,
that.
yeah, and I heard the first thing I was talking about. Let me finish that thought. Is that Axel's security got a phone call from heard from someone over in ACDC's camp that Brian was out for a minute and that they
Right.
were looking for someone, and Axel overheard it and goes, "Hey man, just tell them that I'll do it if they want. I'll just do it."
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's a
that's totally different
real
than approaching him. That's totally different than approaching him.
But I think that's a real happening because obviously Axel is obviously friends with some people in the AC/DC
Oh
camp.
yeah.
If not, I'm sure he's friends with the guys in AC/DC because those guys have had champagne together. So the
Oh God,
point
yeah.
the point is they were still carrying on these auditions whether they had already talked to Axel and had him in for a few songs or a whole set or hung out with him, had dinner
Hmm.
and had a meeting and had already written him in. Yeah, got to do Axel. That's going to sell tickets. We'll be fine having Axel because it's Axel's AC/DC. It's AC/DC featuring Axel Rose. It
Yeah.
sounds good even like that.
Axl DC.
That's right. It sounds perfect. It's perfect. So when you think about it from business standpoint, and we're going to be okay. The arenas
Yeah.
are going to be full. It's going to be fine. But they're still having auditions. So Live Nation, who is sponsored that tour, uh, is in good in Dallas with this band Back in Black. Well, they call Back in Black. The Live Nation hears about it because oh, Brian Johnson's out. Oh shit, they need a singer. Oh shit, we should call Darren. So they're trying to call Darren, and he's not answering. So they call the guitar player, Mike, and Mike goes over to his apartment or wakes him up or finally gets him on the phone. He's like, dude, are you sitting down? Because I think I just got you an audition for AC/DC. He's like, wait, what? So he flies out. They fly out together, Mike and Darren, the guitar player, the guy that plays Angus in Back in Black, and Darren,
Yeah.
who sings the Bon Scott and the Brian Johnson very well
Wow.
and can do 2 hours, no problem.
That's a lot of
Knows
voice.
every lyric and every song they've ever done, because they've been around for 20 years plus, playing nothing but AC/DC, doing at least a 90-minute or longer, 150 shows a year. Making bank, just fucking killing it. And they tour. They go Canada, they go everywhere.
That's the point where cover bands actually making more. Sometimes it's more talented, more tight than the original band. This is a point now where this happens a lot more.
Because they tour every year. AC/DC tours every 5 years, if that. So my point, let me finish. It's all in the documentary, and they tell the story themselves. The movie, again, is called, it's on Netflix, it's called My Stupid Tribute Band. Anyway, so they're in Atlanta. They're met by security. They go to the audition. They meet all the guys, and Darren's in there, and he's allotted 3 songs, and he gets to pick the songs, I think, or what do you want to do? What do you know? Well, I know them all. Whatever you guys want to do. I don't remember what songs. He does 3 songs, and he turns around and he starts thanking everybody. Hey, man, I really enjoyed that. Thank you for your time. And they're like, okay, no problem. And he goes, I'm going to step out and have a smoke. Yeah, go ahead. They put down their guitars. They give their guitars to the techs and shit, and they follow him out with a beer and a coffee and a tea or whatever. They follow him out to the smoking area, allotted smoking area, and to have a tea and whatever, and have a smoke with him. And they're like chatting him up, and they say, "You want to sing some more?" He's like, "Well, I already did of course I want to sing some more." So he ended up doing the whole set from that tour. What was that tour?
Wow. I can't even tell you. I know it was like on Black Eyes, before Black Eyes. I don't know.
The first single was Play Ball. Oh shit.
It wasn't Black Eyes. It was the other one, right?
It wasn't Black Eyes. It's newer than that.
The other one. It was the Blues Baker, Balls Baker, or something.
No, that's 90s.
I'm getting all back.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It wasn't very long ago. But anyway, the point is he went and just killed it. But Axl ultimately was the man for the job. Yeah,